country music story started a long time ago, but for me, it started in 1940. There are many stories of country music, but this is a personal glimpse into the past, moving on into the present, as I have heard, seen, and loved country music for these many years. It's been a great thrill to me over the years to watch country music grow. It's impossible for me to mention all of the people I have known who have been connected with the growth of the Opry and country music, but I'll bring in a few. I love to think of that first night in 1940 when I made my very first appearance on the WSM Grand Ole Opry. I was taken in hand that night by a very kind gentleman, George D. Hay, who was in charge at that time. He and the Opry librarian, Vito Pelletieri, and the WSM manager, Harry Stone, ran things then. Judge Hay, the originator of the Opry, known on the air as the solemn old judge, was kind to me, a timid amateur, that night. Just love 'em, Minnie, and they'll love you right back, he said to me, to calm my first time on microphone jitters. Oh, how well do I remember one of the first stories I told that night. I was lucky enough to keep an old record of that first show. Listen.
Yes, proud to be here. Well, so I was trying to get in out there just now in that awful crowd. Only it's not an awful crowd, it's a good crowd. We're proud to see the folks, but there's a big crowd out there, and I was trying to get through. And all of a sudden, a fella grabbed me, and it was dark. And he, yeah, he grabbed me, and he said, I'm going to kiss you or die trying. You ain't saw his name in no death notices, have you? He grabbed me and he kissed me right on the back of my neck, right there. He sure didn't know his way around, did he? Well, so you gotta be careful of these here fellers. Now, I know, you do. Well, see, you have to be awful careful of these fellas that takes you out and buys you a big dinner. Them's the ones you got to be careful of. Ooh-wee! Uncle Nabob said it's the same with the automobile. He says a fella don't fill a car up with gas unless he expects to get someplace. But the other day, Lucifer Hucklehead was out hoeing his corn in the hot sun, and one of them Farm Bureau fellers come by. So he says to Lucifer, he says, look here, ain't you afraid that working in the hot sun without no hat will injure your brain? And Lucifer said, don't be silly, mister. If I had any brains, I wouldn't be doing this kind of work. But the rich folks up on the hill is they always looking for antiques. They've looked at me several times. Just smiled. One of them laughed right out loud. So the lady at the house, she seen a grandfather clock in the store. You know, one of them great, big old tall grandfather clocks stands about 4 or 5 axe handles tall against the wall. And she said to Smead Stoker, he's working down there for Steve Jones, she said, does that clock run? He said, no, ma'am, it just sits still and wags its tail. Ain't no flies on Smead. Well, till later, you know what? I was just thinking about that clock put me in the mind of Aunt Ambrosia and Uncle Nabob. They got them one of them newfangled clocks the other day. And you know, in the middle of the night, the first night they got it, well, something went wrong on the inside of that old clock, and instead of it striking 1 after 12, it struck 13. It did. Uncle Nabob said, get up, Rosie, and light the lamp. It's later than I ever known it to be. Moonshine McKinney, he's got him a new dog. I wish y'all could see that little old dog. He's about a dog and a half long and a half a dog high. And he's done learned that little dog to go around and stick stoppers in the bottle. Moonshine has, in his moonshine bottle. He says he's a kind of a Cocker Spaniel. Well, you know, all this talk about the campaign puts me in the mind of the time Uncle Nate Bob was running for constable up our Grinder Switch where I come from. And him and Lem Perkins ain't never been good friends. They've been bitter enemies ever since I remember. Lem was going around talking about Uncle Nabob. Uncle Nabob went up to him and said, Lem, I know we ain't never been good friends. I know that. I'm telling this for the benefit of the governor of Florida. He's sitting here in front of me right here, bless his heart. He says, I know we ain't never been good friends, but says, please vote for me. I need your vote. Lem says, I wouldn't vote for you if you was St. Peter himself. He says, listen, if I was St. Peter, you couldn't vote for me. You wouldn't be in my district. Whew, that was a long time ago. My stories of Grinder Switch have come and gone. A lot of them have stayed. But the music I heard that first night is so vivid in my mind. What a beautiful thought I am thinking concerning the great speckled bird. Remember her name is Record. The king of country music, then and now. Roy Acuff established himself from the first in that position, and he remains there. One of my dearest, closest friends, professionally and personally. He and the Smoky Mountain Boys mean country music to millions of friends all over the world. His voice and his fiddle was the lonesome mountain sound of country music. He told in song of the sorrows of the mountain people where he came from. The sound of the fiddle and the mandolin. This was a sound I remember from that first night in 1940. Bluegrass. Bill Monroe, the founder of the bluegrass sound. The sound of the stringed instruments. No electric amplifiers, just the sound of the strings. The Gully Jumpers, the Possum Hunters, the Fruit Jar Drinkers, the Crook Brothers, the Delmore Brothers, Robert Lund, D. Ford Bailey, the wonderful old timers. And we're still lucky enough to have some of them at the Opry even yet. Uncle Dave Macon was there that first night, I remember, with his son Doris. I grew to know Uncle Dave so well and to love him as we worked shows together across the country. A tireless performer. He never failed to please a crowd, even after he was in his 70s. Country music became a way of life to me. I went on the road with different acts and met other country music performers. There was a young, handsome singer I met while I was working with Pee Wee King. Anytime will be the right time. Anytime at all will do. Anytime. His was the sweet sound of country music, then and now. Eddie Arnold has done so much for country music, sold millions of records, and appeared before millions in concerts and network TV. Recently elected to the Country Music Hall of Fame, he has bridged the gap between country music and every other type of music. I am particularly lucky to have him and his family for good neighbors and good friends. In those early days I was on the Opry, Texas sent us a fine ambassador. I'm walking the clover here. I can't sleep awake, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying and my heart breaking too. Walking the Texas troubadour. Tall, lean, blue-eyed Texan in handsome Western wardrobe. He took the Opry by storm. I doubt if any performer in country music has more loyal fans than Ernest Tubb. And he loves his fans, too. Another member of the Country Music Hall of Fame, Ernest has contributed a great deal to country music, including a tall, handsome son, Justin Tubb, who is also a successful country music singer. As you know, my mind
has always sort of run on fellers. But I must say that the scene of country music was brightened along about this time by a lovely lady.
It wasn't God who made honky-tonk angels, as you said in the words of your song. Too many times.
I'll never forget the first time I saw Miss Kitty Wells. I saw her recently, and I was struck by the fact that she looks almost the same as she did when I first saw her. A young-looking, pretty, attractive lady in every sense of the word. Certainly one of the central figures on the feminine side of the country music roster. Miss Kitty represents not only solid sales of records and personal appearances, but she has also contributed several fine children to the country music field. She and her talented husband, Johnny, are a fine tribute to our business. Country music had changed and developed a little by this time. As I look back on it now, it all happened so gradually, we were hardly aware of it. I do remember the first night an electrified guitar was used on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry. Oh, such a fuss that created. It'll ruin country music, was the cry. But it didn't. And other changes were coming about. Sound effects had been introduced. Instruments other than ones with strings had been brought into record sessions. Background voices were being used. I was working on the Prince Albert NBC network show along about then, and the star of that show was a truly great singer.
There will be peace in the valley for me. There will be peace in the valley for me.
Gospel, ballad, blues, novelty song, name it. This feller can sing it. The old red on the head, Red Foley, is one of the greats in country music. He and Rod Brassfield, now there was a funny man. How I loved Rod. We worked together so many years on that network show. The three of us, Red Foley, Rod Brassfield, and me, Minnie Pearl. Here's an excerpt from one of those happy nights.
Just proud to be here. Well, sure ain't this hot weather just wonderful? We had a good time at our 4th of July celebration down there at Grinder's Switch. One of the mainest reasons was on account of because Uncle Nabob was celebrating in the way he always does. Uncle Nabob always celebrates the 4th with the 5th. And we had speech making. Oh, one real flowery feller. Oh, he talks a fancy life. And he was saying, in this great, broad, wonderful land of ours, nothing is impossible. And I heard Link Shank say, if he thinks nothing is impossible, he ought to see my mother-in-law. Well, old brother done a silly thing along about then. He had a bunch of firecrackers in his hip pocket, and absent-minded like he stuck a lit piece of punk down in the pocket. And when them fireworks went off, woo! Brother sure burned his britches behind him. But I ain't scared now, I'll tell you. I ain't scared of most little old tiny small animals. But while me and Hezzy was sitting there on the grass, there was a little old tiny weasel come up to me and squealed.
Howdy, Minnie.
Well, Rodley Brassfield, how'd you weasel in here?
Minnie, I just wanted to ask you a question.
Well, go ahead, Rodley.
Well,
Since I've got old enough to know all the answers, I've just been dying for some feller to ask me the question. What's the question?
this question concerns my gal, Susie.
Oh.
Yeah, it concerns my gal. She went out and bought herself a pair of slacks.
Well, now, Rodley, ain't Susie kind of, sort of, what you call, sort of big to be wearing slacks?
Yeah, that's what I'm coming to. When she went out and got them slacks and she put them on and showed them to me, and she says to me, I bought these slacks last winter when they was cheap.
Yeah?
She says, don't you think I had good foresight?
Yeah.
I says, maybe you had good foresight, but fine Ed, you wouldn't have bought them if you'd had any hindsight.
Well, Rodley, I'm ashamed of you. You ought to be ashamed.
Minnie Pearl, Miss Minnie,
What?
what's been going on down around old Grinder Switch lately?
Well, things are on the up and up at Grinders.
They are?
Everything's moving up.
Good.
Steve Jones got one of them newfangled oil stoves, and that thing blowed up the other day. Blowed Steve and his old lady clean out the top of the roof.
Oh, my goodness.
First time they've been out together since they got married. You see, he ain't like Lem Perkins. Lem takes his wife with him everywhere he goes.
He do?
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Liam do?
Yes, takes his wife with him everywhere he goes.
He do?
I said to him the other day, I said, Lem, it's the thought of you.
Yeah.
Taking your wife with you.
Well, why do he take her everywhere he goes?
Well, he said she's so ugly, I'd rather take her with me than to kiss her goodbye. But, Rodney, I wish you could saw Brother what a good time he had on the 4th of July.
Brother.
Yes.
He had a good time.
Oh, wonderful time. You know, them rich folks up there, back up there on the hill,
Yeah.
they've got a brand new swimming pool.
Oh, Slim Hoop.
Yeah, they got a brand new swimming pool.
Yeah, I've
all
seen them
day.
rebuilt.
All day, the 4th of July, Brother was jumping in and out.
In and out of the pool.
Yeah.
Just having the fun.
Yeah. Because he's going to have more fun next week when they put the water in it.
No wonder he's got a lump on his head.
Well, I'll tell you now, we were glad to see him be so feisty and have so much fun because he's been sick.
But,
Yes, he fell off and got the thing. We had to starch his underwear to hold him up.
poor little old brother.
And we went over there and got him some medicine.
Yeah.
And now he's been keeping us awake
What'd you
at
get?
night.
Yeah?
Well, there, you see, a couple of nights ago, he was running up and down the hall all night long.
Running up and down the hall.
And the next night, running up and down the hall.
Next night, run up and down
The
the hall.
next night, he was skipping up and down the hall. Kept us awake all night.
Well, how come?
Well, you see, it was on account of because the medicine had on the front of it, it said, take it 2 nights running and skip a night. All right, I'll see you next week.
See you next week. See you next week, boys. Yeehaw. Shit.
And here's another excerpt from one of those happy nights with me and the old redhead.
Oh.
Yes, I'm proud to be here. Woo! It sure is hot tonight, ain't it? I know Rodley Brassfield said that too, but tonight it's hot enough for both of us, I'll tell you. One thing about me, though, is no matter what I wear, I always seem to look cool. I know that for a fact because when I was coming in up the steps to the auditorium just now, there was a couple of fellers standing outside, and one of them said, "Hey, that's Minnie Pearl," and the other one said, "Is that Minnie Pearl? She don't look so hot." But I found out one thing, the cooler a girl dresses, the quicker the fellers warm up to her.
Look, I agree with you about summer clothes. When summer comes, you should wear summer clothes.
That's just the trouble with summer clothes, though, Red. Summer clothes and summer not.
Okay, but just remember, Minnie, the gal that wears the halter takes the bridal trip to the altar.
Why, Red Foley, I
Yes,
feel
sir.
so.
And another thing, Minnie, that shade of lipstick you're wearing, that's a little too bright.
Oh, Red, I ain't got on no lipstick, but I've been thinking about wearing some real much here recent. Yes, sir. When a feller's aiming to kiss me, I ought to have something he can see to aim at. But now we've got a brand new fire engine that we just, we celebrated yesterday by having that there fire engine brought. It is brung out where everybody could see it. Oh, it is so pretty and bright and shining red, and it had a sign on the fire engine Said, may this fire engine be like all the old maids that grind her switch, always ready and never sent for. See you next week.
Maybe comedy doesn't exactly come under the heading of country music, but in the overall picture, it's a part of the story. So many of our great comics in the country music field are also musicians, and fine ones too. Lou Childry, Grandpa Jones, String Bean, Alonzo and Oscar, Bill Carlisle, Archie Camel, the Duke of Paducah. How many country music shows have been brightened by the excellent comedy as well as the music of men like Ferlin Husky and Jimmy Dickens? Country music took a giant step when this man stepped into the picture.
Well, my bucket's got a hole in it. Yeah, my bucket's got a hole in it. And my bucket's got a hole in it.
Probably the greatest single talent in our business. Hank Williams will be remembered forever. I remember the first time I worked with him. He hadn't come on the Opry yet, and I worked an Oscar Davis tour with this long, tall, sad-faced singer from Alabama. Nobody could follow him on a show. He was a dear friend of mine. He brought to country music a catalog of songs that have been and will be recorded by singers from all walks of music. He hit the country music field with an impact that has never lessened. But I still seem to be neglecting the women in our country music field. The Carter family has been a great name in country music for many years. Mother Maybelle and her daughters, Anita, Helen, and June, have not only kept a great tradition alive, but have improved the musical image into the present. With fine musicianship and beautiful harmony, Maybelle and the girls sing the old-time songs with present-day professionalism. The country music field owes a debt of gratitude to Canada for sending us a fine voice and a fine performer.
That big eight wheel a-moving down the track means your true love and that ain't coming back, so I'm moving on. Oh, hear my song.
What would millions of country music fans have done without the pleasure of hearing the singing ranger, Hank Snow? Hank sings country music with a different flair. He not only sings with a different style, but he picks a guitar with a most unique sound that I love. He also has a delightful sense of humor, which has given me a great deal of pleasure in the years I've traveled across the country with him. The jukeboxes by this time were full of country music records. Honky-tonks and plush clubs were resounding with the voices of country music performers.
Tell me why, baby, why you make me cry, baby, cry.
George Jones, Webb Pierce, Carl Smith, Lefty Frizzell, Farron Young, Hawkshaw Hawkins, wonderful performers, top record sellers, resplendent in beautiful wardrobe, were driving large automobiles, buses, or flying planes to get to engagements across the country and back to the Opry on Saturday night. Country and Western bands were finding their place in country and Western music. Bands and band leaders like Leon McAuliffe and the Cimarron Boys, Pee Wee King and Red Stewart and the Golden West Cowboys, Hank Thompson and the Brazos Valley Boys, Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys, Ray Price and the Cherokee Cowboys were selling records and packing dance halls across the country. In my estimation, country music has been divided into several different types of sounds. The authentic old sound like bluegrass or folk type, the distinctive sound of a singer's particular style, the hoked up or what we call a gimmick sound, and the straight, smooth singing with just good voice.
Is this me? Is it really me? Sitting here crying. Well, it shouldn't be.
Gentleman Jim Reeves certainly had the voice of that latter category. He was a dignified, dedicated singer who added stature to our country music business. But back to the ladies. It's been real interesting to me over this long period of years to watch the girl singers come to the front and stay there. Way back when I first came to the Opry, we didn't have many girl singers, but this form of country music was never more popular than now. Here I am in your arms again. I should start running before you break my heart. Dottie West, Marion Worth, Jeannie Shepherd, Jeannie Seeley, Loretta Lynn, Norma Jean, Jan Howard, Skeeter Davis, Goldie Hill. So many lovely ladies now brighten the record charts. Patsy Cline was always one of my favorites. She came on with such authority and force, plus wonderful feeling and heart. The strange thing about country music is the way sounds come back in popularity. Like bluegrass. Maybe it never went away.
Standing on the corner with a little blues, a great big hole in the bottom of the shoes. I love me, you saw it all.
Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs have certainly put bluegrass into its rightful place. Carnegie Hall, college auditoriums, music festivals, every place where true Americana is honored. Earl Scruggs, by the way, is recognized as one of the country's foremost authorities on the banjo. And speaking of coming back in popularity, remember this.
Well, I went to a turkey roast down the street. The people down there eating like wild geese. I'm on my way. I'm going back to Alabama.
Oklahoma gave us one of our greats, Cowboy Copas. How well we all remember the big guy with the big laugh, with the big white hat, and the big love for everybody. Another one of my very favorite fellas is a long, tall drink of water from West Plains, Missouri.
With a satisfied mind.
Porter Widener's dreams first came true when he joined Ozark Jubilee in Springfield, Missouri. We were lucky enough later to get him here at the Opry. With his honest style of delivering a country song, he reminds me of Roy Acuff, real true country singing. The Opry and the country music scene have become more interesting and exciting to the young feminine fans by the addition of handsome singers like
Candy kisses wrapped in paper mean more to you than any of mine.
George Morgan, George Hamilton IV, Red Sovine, the Giddy Up Go-Boy, Roy Drusky, Bill Anderson, Billy Walker, Bob Lewin, Bobby Bare, Bobby Lloyd, and Leroy Van Dyke. That's just naming a few of the very handsome, fine singers. Marty Robbins and Don Gibson. Oh, what wonderful songs they write. They're also handsome singers as well. The sound of country music over the years has been enriched by the combination of family voices. The Wilburn brothers, the Louvin brothers, the Browns, the Willis brothers.
He was heading into Boston in a big long diesel truck. It was his first trip to Boston. He was having lots of luck. He was going the wrong direction down a one-way street in town. And this is what he said.
Smooth harmony and excellent entertainment by seasoned showmen. The Jordanaires also have contributed background harmony on many hit records. Some country music singers generate excitement like setting off dynamite. The country music world was truly shaken when this fella broke loose on the scene.
I hear the train a-comin', it's rolling around the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck.
Handsome, brooding, moody, exciting Johnny Cash. Packed auditoriums and million record sales attest to this man's shattering impact on country music. Another million seller came on the scene in recent years and set up blockbuster reverberations also.
If there are sweethearts in heaven, then I want you for mine. If I should go first,
Buck Owens has country music on his heart and mind. He not only is a fabulous record seller, but a solid representative and salesman of country music wherever he goes. Actually, there is no way to say now that country music has progressed thus far, where it will go. There are those who try to designate one singer as country, one as pop. How can you really draw the line? Certainly, performers like Ernie Ford, Jimmy Dean, and Roger Miller have been classified in many categories, and yet they still have country roots. Chet Atkins, Floyd Kramer, and Boots Randolph are at home on any stage, country or otherwise. I've watched country music grow and change just as all the other old-timers have. And speaking of old-timers, how could I mention country and western music without spotlighting the great big guy with the twinkling eyes slanting into the sun at high noon?
Jack of diamonds, the Jack of diamonds, have I known you of old? You were up my poor pockets of silver and gold. Well, it's a whiskey, rye whiskey, I cry.
Certainly no one ever stood taller in the business than Tex Ritter, all-time favorite, friend, gentleman, showman. Country music has grown from a modest beginning to a firmly established place in the sun. The story goes on and on. There's no way to end it. So from me to you, again I say, howdy! I'm just so proud to be here.